Hey, what's up, everybody? I just wanted to mention real quick that I will be giving away this Carbon 1X that I used for this review. It's got about, give or take, maybe 15 hours of play on it, if not less. And I'm looking forward to giving it away to one lucky fan. Here's how you can win this paddle. Number one, make sure to like this video. Number two, make sure to share it with at least one friend. Number three, be sure to subscribe and comment DDOG_pickleball, and you will be entered. When you've done these three things, and you will be entered automatically to win this paddle. I'm going to announce the winners in the coming weeks here after releasing this review, and I really look forward to giving this away to someone soon. All right. Thank you guys. Enjoy the review. So here we are. The Carbon TruFoam Genesis is here. Featuring a wide body standard shape, an elongated with a longer face and a little bit of a shorter handle shape, and a true elongated shape. So let's chat about these paddles. First off, I want to clarify for my viewers that the 1X is the elongated, the 2X is the wide body / standard shape, and the 3X is the elongated with a longer face and a handle still big enough for two-handed backhands, but not the handle size of the elongated 1X. So these are the first Gen 4 pickleball paddles, according to Carbon. And I can attest that these do really kind of offer a unique generational Gen 4 technology with the 100% foam core. And that's a lot of what some of the other reviewers and some of the pickleball community is calling Gen 4 paddles now. But this also applies to Gen 3 technology as well. Therefore, I will consider them both Gen 3 and Gen 4 in that regard in the categories. And I'm not really one to kind of get too mixed up in the whole, is it a Gen 3? Is it a Gen 4? Is it a Gen 5, 6, 7, 8? You know, we got a lot of new paddles coming with a lot of new tech, and I want to make sure that we highlight the tech and the good, bad, the ugly, the great, the superb, the not so great, everything we can about these paddles. So let's dive into it. So first off, I did want to make a quick disclosure that Carbon sent me these for the potential of a review. No money was exchanged. I do have a discount code that offers me a % kickoff, and it gives you guys a % kickback, and it gives you guys a discount at checkout, and that's how this whole dance and pony works. So with that being said, let's dive into it. The Carbon Genesis TruFoam 3X came in at a static weight of 8.4 ounces, a swing weight of 117, and a twist weight of 6. The Carbon Genesis TruFoam 2X came in at a static weight of 8.2 ounces, a swing weight of 108, and a twist weight of 6.5. The Carbon Genesis TruFoam 1X came in at a static weight of 8 ounces, a swing weight of 115, and a twist weight of 5. I want to highlight the match durability and consistency in these paddles, and I have spent the past about 4 to 5 weeks testing these in particular for break-in or any changing, because that's one thing that we've noticed here at DDOGPickleball when it comes to certain Gen 3, Gen 4 style paddles, and I can firmly attest there's been no change throughout my playtime with these. I have spent well over 40 hours on these paddles, in particular the 3X and the 2X, which I will get into later in this review, and I have not noticed any form of a quote-unquote break-in. I have not noticed any of a quote-unquote overheating, core crushing, delamination, no things along those lines. Everything that these paddles are, they're the same that they came out of the box for me. The spin's the same, the power's the same, and the performance has been the same. And I'd like to talk about that performance now. So I would classify, I'm going to start with the 1X, And this, in my opinion, is the power paddle of this bunch. I would classify it, if I were to lean it one way, as power leaning into the all court category, just because I don't think it's the hottest paddle in the world for a Gen 3, Gen 4 style paddle, but it is a power paddle. This is not solely an all court paddle, in my opinion. And it's just, look, if you're someone that loves elongated paddles and you want something that's good, but isn't going to, you know, core crush in a month or, really kind of pop the ball 2 feet out of the court every time you hit with it, I think this is a great paddle for you. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of elongated paddles. I struggled to play with this at times, but for the sake of this review and for you guys, I powered through it and I really made sure that I got good time on the 1X. And I can solemnly say it's a good overall paddle. The spin's good, the power's good, the pop's good, and the overall performance of this paddle is great. You have enough room for a two-handed backhand on this handle, more than enough, to be honest. I have big hands, so one of my hands takes up almost the whole handle because of that, but you can hit a two-handed backhand with this puppy fine. It is a fully elongated shape, and I added lead kind of into the bottom corners, into the throat. I found that was the best optimal performance enhancer for this paddle, and I found it opened up my sweet spot further. And it did help the higher launch angle in these a bit, but I just found it overall made it more whippy, which is something I really like in my elongated paddles, is being able to whip the long handle around. And so those were kind of my thoughts on the 1X and what I did to it. I would like to now get into the 2X, and I think this, in my opinion, is the paddle of this series. The 2X, it's between the 2X and the 3X. I'm leaning more the 2X personally. I know a lot of people that play and prefer the 3X over this, but personally for me, it's the 2X. So let's get into this. First off, I added about 8 inches of 0.5 tungsten tape from basically the end of the bottom corner all the way up to kind of the starting point here for the top corner, like just below that. And I found this was the best addition for me. I did try the weight under here as well. It didn't really do anything for me, to be honest, with this paddle. I do love that this thing comes in at a relatively low swing weight. I do love pretty much everything about this paddle. I have been a big proponent of hybrid paddles lately, along with wide body and standard shapes, but in particular hybrid. So I was a little disappointed to see when Carbon didn't do a hybrid for this lineup, but I do think that they really made up for it by making good quality paddles in the 2X in particular, in that this paddle is, in my opinion, the king of all court right now. This is the ultimate all court paddle. You get more than ample power, good pop. You can add weight to customize. You don't even need the weight on this, to be honest. And you get probably one of the biggest sweet spots in pickleball, if not the biggest sweet spot in pickleball currently with this paddle. And I'm a huge fan. It's currently what I'm maining. I plan to main it for the foreseeable future right now. Again, being a paddle reviewer, we hit a lot of paddles. Mains change a lot. With that being said, I plan on maining this along with the Bread and Butter Invader for certain scenarios. That was my prior main, and I just have a tough time putting that paddle down. It's also a great paddle. But yeah, I've been playing with this. And the one thing I will say about the 2X is, well, it's a 16-inch base, and it's about, I believe it's 7.8 to 7.9 inches wide. So just under that 16 by 8. But this is a great paddle. This is the first wide body standard shape that I have had that I don't feel that reaching issue when playing mixed doubles or trying to really be aggressive in men's doubles. And I like that. That reaching issue drives me insane with some of the wide bodies. And it ultimately was what had me leave wide bodies in the past to going into a more hybrid shape to kind of get the best of both worlds. But my hands feel lightning fast with this thing. My power and pop feels good. I'm a big fan. Be sure to check it out. I'm sure you won't be disappointed if you know you like a shape like this. Also, I do think this is a really cool logo, the Carbon logo in general, and I think the new butt caps on these are pretty cool as well. So just wanted to say that as well, along with the edge guard. If you see this, the TRUFOAM, we'll see if the camera focuses on it. Yep, there you go. I think that's pretty cool as well. So Moving on, we have the 3X. And this is actually the paddle I was most intrigued by in this lineup when I first heard of this lineup personally, because I used to main the Vatic V7 and the V7 Prism, and they were this exact shape. The elongated face with just the handle that's like just big enough to hit the 2E. You got to put a little finger real estate on the face. And I really liked the shape. I didn't have an issue with it. The industry kind of moved away from this. They moved more towards kind of hybrids rather than this shape, and rightfully so. But let's get into the 3X. So for me, it was between the 2X and the 3X, and I was very close to choosing the 3X. I just thought the stuff and the forgiveness and the overall playability I got from the 2X was better for me in my game personally. But the 3X is a great paddle. I would highly recommend this to anybody looking for an all court leaning power, which is where I would put this, since I do think it's a little more powerful than the 2X, but really not all that much. And again, I think this could also be considered one of the best all court paddles in the game right now. And overall, it's a great paddle. My weight setup, I did a little bit of a unique one. I played around with some stuff down here, up here. I kind of went for like the half bars in the middle here. I was going to keep going up, but I just found this was more than enough weight. As I mentioned earlier in the review, my 3X came in on the heavier side, so I didn't really feel the need to go all out and add crazy amounts of weight, but you could. These paddles really do offer that. Coming in at that 14 millimeter, which is something I'm going to dive into in a moment. But yeah, I went for this. If I were to change this up again, I might do top corners here with, maybe 2 to 3 inches, and then go like kind of that twist weight zone just above the bottom corner, going into kind of the throat again for more kind of twist weight gain as well. But good paddle, big fan, highly recommend. I will say with the carbons in general, I do recommend just doing like electrical tape or something up here just to protect them, just because I do that with all my paddles, especially if I play them a lot personally, just because edge guards are edge guards. They break, it stinks when they break. It's never fun. And so more protection is better than less, in my opinion. As long as you're not destroying your static weight and swing weight values to a point that you find uncomfortable. But so let's talk about these. So these are 14 millimeter, but something cool about these is the way in which they use the foam. They don't feel like a 14 millimeter paddle. I am someone that has traditionally gravitated towards 16 millimeter paddles, even thicker paddles at times, and 18 to 20 millimeter. But for a long time, I've said, I'd really like to get down to 14 millimeter. I just think there's more playability and more variety at that millimeter. And this is kind of part of this new wave of paddles that's coming in, where 14 millimeter can be the new 16 millimeter. And the reason why I say that is because the way in which these cores are designed, you don't have to decide between 14 and 16 millimeter. With the TFG core technology, there's no reason for the cores to have a different thickness. You get, through the Genesis TruFoams, you get a variety of foam densities and structures that they can basically contort to making a 14 millimeter feel more forgiving than an older 14 millimeter would. And I encourage you, if you get the chance to hit one of these and you have an older 14 or 13 millimeter paddle laying around, bring that with you and hit them side by side. I can almost guarantee this isn't going to feel like a true 14 millimeter paddle in that regard. In my opinion, this feels like a 16 millimeter level of forgiveness, especially with the 2X and partially the 3X. Well, you're still getting the benefits of a 14 millimeter paddle. So that's something I really like about these. It's something I know the aforementioned paddles, some of them kind of in that Gen 3, Gen 4 line, are starting to do more now. And I think it's a great innovation to the pickleball industry. And I really look forward to seeing more of that in the industry. Now, let's go into a little bit of the face layup. So the TFGs feature a unique T700 raw carbon fiber layup, unlike any other paddle out there. It includes a layer of fiberglass for strength and performance as well, which has been really kind of the motto of, pickleball paddles lately, especially in 2024 now, here in 2025 to start the year. And, that extra fiberglass layer really offers that pop and plow to give you those additional benefits that you really wouldn't get without it. And so I think that is a great feature in these. All of these are PB Core 43 certified and USAP approved. To my knowledge, I don't think they went for UPA approval at this time, but I've seen pros like Elise Jones and some of their other Carbon pros playing with these on the UPA tour. So I'm going to make kind of an assumption that chances are if you bring them to a UPA or you check that approved list, they might be approved on there, whether it's through these models or maybe a different model that just the pros are using. I would check back in or check the Carbon website to find out more about that. So if that's something that's a big deal to you. But as of right now, for amateurs, I'm pretty sure you can use any USAP approved paddles in a PPA or an APP at the moment. So I did want to make that disclaimer real quick. And again, check the website, check with the proper sources before going to these things. Don't just assume and end up and not being able to play because you don't have proper equipment. So definitely check that on your end. But as far as I've been told and learned, that is where they lie with certification at the moment. So it is worth noting as well that these have a bit of a surfboard kind of core on them. It looks really cool. I know a lot of some of the other reviews have mentioned it. I will try to put pictures in here of that surfboard core to really just show it off. I think it's a really cool, innovative thing. And Carbon has spent a lot of time on this paddle. They spent, paddles. They've spent really about the past 2 to 3 years on these, and I think they hit a home run with them. I will admit I'm not really a fan of the price point, but after discount code DDOGPickleball at checkout, they come down to a somewhat reasonable Gen 3 to Gen 4 paddle price of around $250 to $260 per paddle. So definitely give that a try. And other than that, let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you like this video, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share button for me. Do us a solid. I'm looking forward to reviewing more paddles like this. And yeah, we'll catch you guys.